One of the questions that I consistently get from people as I go around the diocese is, how did you know that you were supposed to be a priest? How did that calling come to you? And because many young people are trying to figure that out. How, if God is calling me, how will I know? So would you like to share how you yourself felt God's call in your life and how it's led you to this point of ministry?
I felt it very early on. I even have a picture here to prove it. From 5 years old in kindergarten through Catholic school. So the whole Catholic religious experience of priests, nuns, what have you, religious education, etc. The Mass, even being forced to go to Mass as a Catholic school kid each day, trying to escape going to that Mass by hiding in the boys' bathroom, not going. So it was early on in that sense, I was impressed by its beauty, its, I guess its power. Call, now, am I being called? Did I hear a call, feel a call? That's in later Catholic elementary school when priests and nuns begin to say, have you thought about, are you considering this? And finally that crystallized in my 8th grade, if you will, as the Diocesan Minor Seminary was open. So I was in that first class for the Diocesan St. John Vianney Seminary at age 14. So I was pretty early. And no regrets.
I was probably on the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't think I started thinking about being a priest until I was probably 17 or 18. Just had never been on my radar screen growing up. I think that God finds the way to call the person he wants to be a priest. But it happened when I started really connecting to my Catholic faith and really truly practicing that faith. And I think at that point in my life, that was the time when I was asking questions and trying to figure out what was I going to do after college when I got the parchment in hand. And I think that's a time when someone is very open. And there are other things that I wanted to do, but the more that I saw of the priesthood and the things that priests did, the more that ministry was attractive to me, particularly just seeing the powerful effects of the sacraments on people's lives. And then I slowly began to realize that that's what I wanted to do more than anything else. And that's so in a way, I guess God also conquers our hearts.
What else were you considering?
A career with Uncle Sam. I was working in the U.S. House of Representatives up in Washington, and that was in some ways sort of a kind of dream job or something that I had always thought I would be interested in. And it was a job that I loved, but it was also a job and not a vocation. And as much as I liked it, I felt that something was still kind of missing, and realized that I wanted to be celebrating Mass and hearing confessions, not necessarily working on legislation.
In my case, it was early life combined with college years. I remember as a kid, the faith played a real role in the family, and we had this great love for the church. We were, I would say, a post-missionary place. I'm born and raised in Hawaii, and my family is native Hawaiian, Chinese, and Irish, and a German last name. There was still stories of the old missionaries around. Many of the priests and nuns still had thick French or Flemish accents. I remember the great esteem and love that people had for the church, and that the church would come out and find us in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. These people would leave everything in comfortable France and Belgium and learn another language, live under the hot sun. And Catholics at first were persecuted in Hawaii. So it was a faith that kind of grew grassroots. And so all of that stuck in my mind. And then stories of how religious priests and nuns helped and intervened in family situations because the church was the institution that we could trust. So that was early on planted, and then later, when I went to college, I went to Georgetown, and I met the Jesuits. And for the first time, I thought to myself, you know, they're real people. And I think, boy, this thing that I thought of years and years ago, that I had kind of dismissed, that I pretty much put out of my mind, all of a sudden, in seeing, especially the young Jesuits, I had a lot of Jesuit professors, some young ones, some older ones, and listening to their stories and just watching them interact, and they're very natural and at ease, and I thought, I think I might be able to do this. And that was what crystallized what early on had happened. And I always felt since a kid that I could sense God. I mean, I got that from the family and from the culture, which was nice. And then, I always wanted to do something that would bring God and people together. And when I was in college, when I was around priests, I thought, this is possible. Let's try it.
I had a personal experience, something that I went through in my life. It was something very difficult. And when I had experience with the Lord, I was doing something in my church. One of the things that I always was amazed was the pastor. He was a man who gave his life to his people. And he was always there for people, for all ages. The people, young people, he was always able to reach people in different levels. And I see that as a way how to show the love to others. On the other hand, I saw so many difficulties in people's life, like poverty and a lot of abuse, a lot of people who were not taken care in our society. And I see how the priests went to reach these people in this level. And in that time I was studying business, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time in what I did. I studied economy, accounting, and agriculture. It was something good that I enjoyed what I did. But I was more touching for the people. How we can make a difference to these people who didn't have hope in the light. And I see the priest is the person who can make that connection between God and them. And the priest, somebody who has been called for the Lord to serve the people of God and to reach people in different levels, in different situations. Something in my heart told me, if you want to be one of the sons of the priesthood, you will be able to make that difference to these people, just to be able to listen to them, the ministry of the presence that can make the big differences. Because I grew up in a small town in my own country where everybody does whatever they want in their lives. They don't care for others. And I try to do the opposite side. I try to be with people and to concern about people's problems, people's life. And I know that it would have made that connection to me, and I feel that the happiness and joy in my life. I see this as a gift. And I thank God every day for being part of the Diocese of Richmond. I know it has been a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties and ups and downs. But at the same time, I see how God has worked with me in those moments. And I think a perseverance through my prayer and my faith in God and our Blessed Mother helped me through to be able to serve the people of God.